Notice is hereby given that the City Council of the City of Caldwell, Burleson County, Texas, will convene in a regular meeting at the City Hall Council Chambers, 107 South Hill Street, Caldwell, Texas. Regular meeting place thereof at 5:32 p.m. Tonight's invocation will be led by me, and the pledge to the American and Texas flags will be led by Captain Novak. Please stand. Lord, give your people in our community a spirit of unity as we follow you, so that with one heart and mind, we may work together for the good of our city. Thank you for your protection from Hurricane Beryl, and thank you for the city workers who are willing and ready to protect us if it came through. In your name, amen.
Amen. Pledge to the American flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Texas flag.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
I love a full house. I'm so excited to see everyone here. We do have a couple of citizens to be heard on city-related topics. And the first one is going to be Mr. Carl Marsh. As a reminder, Mr. Marsh, you have a 5-minute time limit to speak.
That's tough.
It's okay.
Okay. City Council, how many of y'all know about the Maryland Dairy deal with the dogs? Nobody? Okay, y'all gave me 5 minutes. Maryland Derrick is my cook, lives down the street. And somebody turned her in. I know who. They turned her in because she had, let's say, $15 to $25 in the house. You drive by there, you'll never know they're there or whatever. But anyhow, somebody called on her, and they came over there to serve a warrant and pick these dogs up. I'll agree that's way too many dogs in one house, but she does take care of them, and they better have good pictures if they were living in filth. Okay. Then the lady that came out there, I wasn't there. Lady came, told her point blank, they come with the dog. Well, you gotta look at Maryland. Maryland had both breasts taken off, and she got heart trouble. And you females, you put this in, you put yourself in her shoe, okay? And they take all these dogs. And the little deputy that came down there, my sister-in-law went down there to check on Maryland, not interfere or anything else. He told her she needed to keep her nose out of it. And then when she did, they gave her 2 dogs back. That's what she got. And the 2 dogs she got back was full of fleas. And they also had to go to the vet because they caught kennel cough. And now I don't know how much fine she paid. This lady, she only said income. And like I said, it's my cousin. I shouldn't be here, but I feel sorry for her. I don't know about the rest of y'all. But anyhow, I'll leave it at that. But, you know, I think it's all handled wrong myself because nobody in here knows anything about it. Okay?
Thank you.
Anybody got any questions?
Okay, next citizen to be heard is Brad Oliver.
Thank you for calling me early. I appreciate that.
A reminder, you two
I want to go to Taco Tuesday tonight. Looks like I'm going to make it. So anyway, glad to be here today. Obviously, got a lot of things on my mind. I know, did y'all receive a copy of this? We're not going to talk about too much on that. It could take way too much time tonight. And obviously, there's a lot of other things going on. I do want to bring up something, though. A couple things that are near and dear to my heart. One is the pay of the city employees. You know, we've done a pretty good job taking care of our city manager, but I don't think we've done too good of a job for our employees. I don't have all the facts and figures because, well, you don't put a lot of them out, but I know from talking to some of the employees over the last few months that there's a lot of them, like myself, who's pretty mad that I didn't get a cost of living index this year. over the last 4 years, all of us have felt the pinch of inflation. Real inflation is probably about 25 to 30%, not just 3% or whatever they're talking about, because they don't take into account food or your energy costs. If you look it up, you'll see that I'm right. But the issue is that we can't go constantly rewarding the city manager with more money unless we do something for the rest of the folks. Look, we're supposed to be a family here in this city. We're supposed to be united. I don't know how the city employees can get united in this city whenever the city ignores their basic needs. And their needs is a percentage raise. We need to set something in the budget. Obviously, the city has no problem raising taxes. Can I get an amen? But if you're going to raise taxes, let's be a little fair about it. We're spending $700,000 on an airport over here. I believe that was voted on and approved, right? Is that right? 10% of $7 million is $700,000. We could have used that $700,000 to give our boys a raise. I don't know about you, but I don't own the plane. And all I got to say is I am here tonight to say I'm upset for the city employees because the city, I feel, has slighted them. And don't get me wrong, I wouldn't do Camden's job for what he makes. I make a lot more than he does. I wouldn't do it. It's too hard. But I'll tell you this, for him to take raises back to back and these boys not to get a good raise every year, I'm sorry. I'm hopping mad about that. Because I like I said, I got my job lined out. But a lot of these guys don't make very good money. And that little percentage raise won't even keep up with the inflation that we're experiencing. So I beg you, on behalf of the citizens, of the city employees, to consider doing something for our boys in the way, and women, there's women there too, I'm talking plural, but we got to do something. We got to do more. We got to be a better city. Being a city is no problem. Being a better city may be a problem. And I'm here tonight to appeal to your compassion in your hearts for those people who may not be as good a shape as you are or I am, but we have to act as though we're in their shoes if we're gonna do what's right for this community. But I don't know how much time I've got, but I need to pass out a couple of things, and I want to bring up something. I've approached the city twice about representing. Is Melissa here? Oh. Yes, sir. Can you pass these out, or about representing the city to go over and see if I can get that eyesore straightened out for you? You don't know it. You don't know who I am. You don't know really what I do. But I fix stuff like this all the time. In court, out of court settlements. That's exactly what I do. Currently, and I'm giving you my resume as well. Is that enough for everybody? I've given you my resume. I sent you letters before, but nobody knows me. But, you know, I leave next week to fly to Nebraska as a court-appointed umpire. And an umpire is an insurance umpire, and what he does is he settles large commercial insurance issues out of court. And what he does is he establishes a price so you can go to court. But I don't know the facts of this case. All I'm asking for is to be your consultant. And I'm telling you, I settle these things usually between 30 and 90 days. Why we're sitting here now with that building the way it is, when I've offered, and this is the third time, I'm doing it for free. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, next is consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are minutes from the last meeting and some additional considerations. Are there any discussions about the consent agenda items?
Move for approval.
All in favor of approving consent agenda items, raise your right hand.
I'll second.
Motion, all in favor, raise your hand. Motion passes. Next, we'll enter into a public hearing. Notice is hereby given to the City Council of the City of Caldwell, Burleson County, Texas, to convene in a public hearing to review the submission of a conditional use permit for a manufactured home application request submitted by Raquel Pena for property at 1299 FM 975, property ID number 1041557, followed by discussion and possible action.
So tonight's council and mayor, this is a CP request, for Peña, that this is the property, it's located off 975, where Main Street curves about, I guess, 1,000 feet from that curve. They did purchase this piece of the tract that, their father owned, and so they purchased that piece, that's a Google image of the street view. That manufactured home that was sitting there on the property that has been removed from the property. And so they are ready for their approval of the CUP, and so that they can, bring in a new mobile home. It's not in the mobile home zone, so it does require a CUP. But as you can see, there was one there before. And, I'll let the applicants speak on anything that they have or questions that y'all might have about it.
Yeah, oh, do I have over?
Yeah.
Well, just the fact that, we had the other mobile home there, and it was there for a while, and my father never did nothing with that piece of land and that mobile home, and so we purchased it. We didn't know that it was not in the zone, so it's just gonna, the mobile home is a 2022, 24 that was purchased, so it's a new one. I mean, we're just trying to get the permit to put it there. I don't know if anybody had any questions or.
Old one's been removed, we're just replacing it with a new one.
Yes, ma'am, that's all we're doing. And matter of fact, it's not in the same spot, but just about in the same spot.
That's up to the end of Cannon Road,
Yes,
right?
yeah, Mr. Cannon.
Yeah, on the other
Yeah,
side.
he got the pasture for him, and then his house is behind
Okay.
that pasture.
And then only thing there is 975.
That's it, sir. And the other property, adjoining that property is, Woodson Lumberyard, it's their property.
Toward Caldwell,
No,
It's the next one.
other side.
Yeah, it adjoins the city,
That's what I'm saying.
and then I think there's 2 or 3 mobile homes right across.
Yes, right across the street, there's a mobile home right across the street. It's been there for a long time too.
I'll make a motion that we grant him this permit. Somebody else would like to talk.
Does anyone else have a comment about the conditional use permit? You have an opportunity to speak? Okay, if not, do we have a motion to approve the conditional use permit?
I make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Motion approved. We are going to convene into our regular meeting. Item number A is proposed 2024 property tax rates.
So this is the proposed tax rate right now. The way that the laws are written, in an effort for more transparency, we have to get way ahead of the schedule. So I don't even have a full valuation from the tax appraiser yet. So what I'm doing is I'm proposing that we keep the same tax rate, which is gonna be 0.37957. The way that things look right now, it will produce some additional revenue from property taxes without having all the figures right now. I can't give you, they have a no new revenue figure and then voter approval and the minimus rate. I can't give you all those rates without having the firm numbers. But the preliminary numbers, like I said, we will bring in some more tax revenues. We can have more discussion about this at a later date. But I'm building our budget based on the number that I just said, which is keeping the tax rate the same. Once again, that's 0.37957 for a $100 valuation.
Cameron's been that way for how many years?
At least 5.
Those types.
Been this way since 2018.
Happy to answer any questions related to that.
Do we have a motion to accept the proposed 2024 property tax rate at 0.37957 per 100? Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
All right, all in favor, raise your right hand. Motion passes to keep the tax rate. Next, update to the drainage concern along Sunny Street, Lewis Street, Eloise Street, North Main Street. And those of you who want to speak on that this evening, if you can go to the microphone. We'll have city officials speak first.
So this item is going to be in relation to the May 21st meeting that we had on the White Silver Run subdivision, which was your property back behind Walmart and Butcher Brothers. Quite a few residents that were notified about that plat application came in and had concerns about existing drainage issues in that area and overall concerns that the new development may impact or adversely impact more drainage issues. And so we had council and directed staff during that meeting to look into some options that we could easily attain for some relief on the drainage issues. And so Camden and Thomas, Trinka, they went out and looked at that drainage area and where a lot of that flow is going, and so they were able to go out and make some immediate improvements to see kind of if that's going to alleviate some of those backups that we were experiencing. So this was some before and after photos of that drainage area back off of Sunny Street that goes back towards 36 North. So this was some other same area, but just a different piece where the fence was kind of blocking with some debris, so they cleaned all that out. Same thing, this was on the other side of that fence, they were able to clear out a lot of that debris that had been caught. And then they were able to cut that drainage ditch out to alleviate some of that backlog of water. So hopefully in the next spring event, we'll be able to see kind of what is actually going to, occur now that they've been able to clean all that out. So, Thomas, Shannon, anything else to add on that one?
I would say just the fact that we had so many people come in and speak the last time we did that, I would encourage everyone to continue to do that. If I don't know about the issues, then it's really hard to fix them. The day after we had that meeting, we went out and Thomas and I, we looked at this and we, obviously we found some improvements that we could make right away. I think our crews did a great job getting them done, getting the debris pulled out, getting the ditch cut out. I went by there the Monday that the hurricane was supposed to come. We had about an inch or so of rain here. Everything was flowing really nicely down the new cuts that they had made. So I appreciate that crew's work on it. But at this point, I don't.
We have someone.
Yes, ma'am.
May I ask those pictures where they did the work, where is that on there?
Can you please say your name, please?
From Haven?
Okay. So all of that work was done back in this area. There's a drainage ditch or a flow that goes out that way, that goes into Copper Street right here, 36.
So that's at the west end of Sunny Street?
East.
Show her where Sunny is.
Sunny Street goes this way.
Can you make that any larger?
So here's the 36th and Century Street intersection right here. So you can go down and about right here, there's a drainage flume.
Okay, yeah, I know where you are now. Okay, so there was nothing done actually on the perimeter of the plat.
Yeah, no, the plat, everything that was submitted and looking at the drainage analysis, the overall improvements that they'll be making is gonna reduce the overall volume of runoff off the property by 6%.
Okay, how does one obtain what the developer's plan?
It's on the city website and in the last, or on the May meeting, the council packet, you'll be able to get it on there. We can also send it to you, I mean, send a information request to Melissa, an email or a phone call, you can, get that request. Send that to you.
Thomas, y'all hauled out, what, 8 loads of
About
dirt?
8 loads, yes.
Yeah.
About a 42-inch cut. Open it up to the,
And Connie, on Connie's property.
right. We joined it with the ditch and lease in 36. It's great, so it should help.
Oh, yes, sir.
Keith Marshall. So what's the plan for the drainage on Main Street? Do we do any improvements on that? And are they planning on sending the water on Main? Or is it all going towards Sunny?
Can you speak to that?
Yes, the platted property is about 30 acres, and about half of it goes to the pond there. That's an existing pond, so about half of it goes there. There'll be a detention pond on that side, and then there's another detention pond on the Sunny Street side. So it basically splits in half, pretty much where the previous owner had her street there, her driveway. That's pretty much the high point, and it kind of splits side by side there.
So you're not holding all the water. You're gonna send it to Main and split it with Sunny.
They're called detention ponds, so they hold them for a certain amount of time and then release.
But where does the detention pond release? On Main and Sunny or where?
No, they release on our property, which will go into the creek there. And then on the other side, we got an easement and they will release onto Sunny Street.
Because Main Street can't drain quick enough down OSR, so it comes over in front of our salon, goes through our tractor lot, and it bottlenecks the hotel. So Sunny Street feeds down, comes down in front of Big Tops or Mexico. But the water cutting through our property from Main Street backs up the top side of those culverts. And that's why, and then it backs up to the Walmart parking lot, Berkshire's driveway, and the hotel. They have a small culvert. So you get a log jam of water coming through the center of our property because Main can't hold the water it got down. If you look at where the salon is, we cut it out for a driveway, the water comes over and you can see the gravel flushed out and it goes straight down to the hotel and it splits the hotel and our other driveway. And you're talking 4 foot of water in that ditch spiraling, so then everything from Sunny Street can't come down. I just wonder what the state, did they address that in any of those studies? And did the city plan on the drainage on Main Street, because there's only 2 inlets to catch all the water off Main, and it goes underground, and they can't handle the water currently. So if you let any water out, it's more through our property and our businesses. So
Yeah, so there's a few lots on Main Street, kind of where his cursor is, that will be on Main Street. But most of the water goes down to this creek on the bottom. Where the tree line is there's a creek.
Yeah, the one that hadn't been cleaned out.
Right, the one that nobody's done anything to.
Yeah.
That's right. You did the easy one,
So
you didn't do the real one.
So my opinion is,
In the middle.
I've dealt with this water through this lot when we built it and that, but my opinion is either the city's gonna spend a lot of money for their drainage on Main, or the state's gonna spend a lot of money on the highway to get those culverts redone. Because when the state culverts back up, water gets in the highway. They do not like that. But Main Street is one of your busiest streets in town. It's your main artery to Walmart Butcher. And when it rains a lot, it's a one-way road, and you're driving through water as it is. And just my opinion. So I didn't know if they did any studies on Maine, or we're dumping it all to Sunny, which is still gonna back up the same place. So the day we put in our new driveway and a tractor lot, we spent 20 grand on a culvert. We had, we were pulling forms, we had 10 state guys there, trying to figure out why water was still in 36. But that's the only one driveway made deed on top for water to go over it, not the highway. If you look at the hotel in Brookshire, the driveways are higher than the crown of the highway, so when the culvert can't take it, it has to go around those driveways. So is the state willing to accommodate y'all and redo those 4 driveways, culverts? I mean, that's 400,000 or 500,000, I'm sure.
So you're talking about stuff on Highway 36?
Yes.
And
I'm off Main. My
Yeah.
salon's on the
Well,
east side of Main, and it feeds to 36. But your water from Sunny Street feeds to 36. Does it not?
Yeah. And it'll be less than it is, it'll be slower than it is currently.
You still have the housing,
with the
current housing
detention
in back there. You're gonna slow their water too.
No, we're not,
You're
we're
gonna
not,
add to it.
we're not touching their water.
But you're adding to it.
We're just detaining our water.
Yeah.
The water on Sunny Street is also going down the Flume, so part of it's gonna go down the Flume, and part of it's gonna go down Sunny Street. Or,
So
sorry,
the
down
flume
the-
goes to Davidson Creek.
Mhm.
So the neighbors in the Woodson addition that have been flooding for years are catching more water from your runoff.
It's already going there.
Yeah. But it's gonna get there quicker unless your ponds hold it for what, how many days?
No, not days, just
Hours?
yes.
That's not detention, it's detention.
I don't know, I see 3 problems. You're either flooding out Woodson addition, you're backing up on the highway, or you're flooding Main. But as long as it's all addressed, I'm good with it. If you're sending any more water than what we get now,
I think
you got a mess trying to get to Brookshire.
we reduced, as he mentioned, the water going to Sunny by 6%. But the water going to Main Street down the creek on the east side there, it's reduced almost 50%. It's going from like 90 CFS down to 50 CFS. So that it'll be greatly reduced on that side because we have a larger pond going up on the northwest side on Sunny Street. And we tried to alleviate the, yeah.
So we have a drawing that shows where those ponds are,
Yes, sir.
and also where the flume is, the discharge is on Sunny Street.
Yes, sir. I wasn't at the last meeting too, but I'm sure they had those.
Yeah,
Everything never blew it up.
as long as you got Main Street covered, because I spent one evening under the power line just 6 years ago with an excavator digging cane poles out to keep the lift station from flooding for the city with city trucks. And that ditch has not been cleaned out since then. And so, as long as no more water's going that way, because not only is it gonna cost the city money or the state, somebody's gonna have to put the bill. By then, your development's done and you're not doing it, so I just wanna make sure who's paying the price on this. But that's all I got.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Vanessa Jackson. And just in addition to what he said, our property is across the street from the shop, and it's almost completely washed out. Every time it rains, there is no way anybody can get across we have our joining property. There's no way we can get across. There's just it has washed out so much of the land there that we couldn't get to the neighbors if we wanted to. So I'm not sure where it's coming from back there, but it's a constant problem. A lot of water. Like I said, it's washing out our property.
Main Street, like here's Brookshire's and Walmart on this side.
Okay, so the salon,
Yes.
going to Brookshire is on the right.
Yes.
Our property is like California to theirs on the left.
Okay.
And so if you look, there's just a really big ditch there, and I guess water is coming from.
Church, it goes behind those house, right, Vanessa?
I'm sorry?
It goes behind those house.
Yes.
And it's catching everything from around the Catholic church.
Yes.
Down that way. If I water fits by her house, it's dripped like 3 bars up. You can see that when you drive by, that water gets hot through there. So,
Can you go to sheet 7, that kind of shows the contours on the plans? So, or A, go to the next one. That kind of shows the pond too. When you see all the contour lines like close together with the big arrow pointing left, that's the creek running there. And that area, I don't know how large that area because we didn't study that creek. But we're just capturing that part there going into this pond and then releasing into the same creek. But our little drainage area there is about 15 acres, and I bet what comes through that creek is probably, I don't know, maybe 100 acres or 200 acres. We didn't study the creek, but so we're just reducing. We have 90 CFS coming into that pond and then like 50 going out. So we're reducing the current amount that comes off there.
Is this the pond in the north and
That's
south?
this is Main Street on the left.
This is on the south side.
Can somebody point at it?
It's this part right here.
Went to Main Street where?
Oh, Main Street's right here.
Yes, that's me.
Berkshire Brothers. Roughly here.
And so, I'm sorry, and so explain to me one more time why we're getting so much of that water runoff.
So it's not, I'm just saying it's not from this property that, sorry. This drainage area here, this goes up all the way to like Highway 21. So all that water comes through this creek here. We're just developing over here. We only have like 15 acres. So we're just gonna capture ours on this pond. And then it'll be a weir structure now that's so wide, it lets out water at a certain rate and slow it down. And so really, what we're dumping in there is really minor compared to what comes.
So the water already that flows from uphill,
That's still coming. Yeah.
it's still coming to your detention pond.
No, it's not coming.
So what are you gonna do with it?
It comes through the creek.
It naturally flows that direction.
So the water flows where the contours are. So the contours, it goes perpendicular to the contours. So it's coming this way to Main Street. So we're capturing it and putting it in this pond and letting it out more slowly. But all of this water that comes to that creek, that's not our, we can't do anything, that's not our property. We're just minimizing what's coming off of our property.
So it sounds like you're actually fixing,
Sure.
you're gonna
You're gonna
actually
make it
help the
better.
problem that's already there, that's been there for years.
Similar with Sunny Street, it all flows that direction now. We're actually helping out. There's a storage unit there. If you look at the house right next to that storage unit, there may be in here tonight, there's a lot of water that comes through that property there. I wouldn't be surprised if that house almost gets water in it. So what we've done is we've moved down to the other side of that storage unit and got a 20-foot easement, and we're gonna build a concrete plume there. So that the
Between the body shop and the storage building,
between the body shop and the next neighbor.
the Fidel residence.
Yes. So we're gonna build a nice concrete plume there to let it out.
Is it gonna line up with the flume, or is it have to do a zigzag?
It's gonna have to come on Sunny Street and jog over.
So what are you gonna do with the opening of the flume next to 206 Sunny? You're gonna open that flume up?
Again, that's not our
It's yours in the city of Caldwell.
Yes,
Sure. I'm actually the owner of the storage facility right there on Sunny Street. So my concern is there is that existing pond already there, and when it rains really heavily, that overflows into the back of the storage unit and my neighbor's place.
Yeah. Well, that pond is going away, and we're going to move the water farther down to the other pond. Yeah, right there. So you see this kind of curve there? That's the existing pond right there. And like you say, when it rains a lot, it overflows and it comes right through the storage unit in this house here. And it probably causes flooding. Sure. So what we're doing now, this pond will go away. The water will be captured in the street. You can see the inlets there, be captured in the street, dumped into this much larger pond, and then released out through a footprint.
So where's the location of the large pond going to be?
Right here on the corner of our property. So this is Sunny Street heading, I guess, northwest.
And there's the flume, isn't that the?
Yes, and there's,
Okay.
there's the pump there. So we can safely get the water off our property onto Sunny Street. No, it'll no longer be flowing through.
But the pond's gonna be behind the Worthingtons, Cadell's, and the, body shop, correct?
Cadell, Douglas, everything's fine. There's the storage unit. And
The Worthingtons,
and this,
the Amayas.
Linda and Mia, so, in that corner. And the detention ponds are designed to drain, to be a detention pond that drains within 24 hours. So when we get a large rain event, we'll hold it in there. We'll have a rear structure that all the lets out a certain amount. And while it's filling up, and then after it stops raining, it'll drain out within 24 hours.
It comes out between the properties or?
We have a 20-foot easement on the other side of that body shop on the Cadell's property. We have obtained a 20-foot easement from there. There'll be a concrete foot structure there.
So just right across the street. It's across the street.
We'll be tying into like a valley gutter, but kind of like a valley gutter, it's kind of a weird curve there on Sunny Street. So we'll be connecting to that.
So where you're doing it, there's only a ribbon curve at Jerry Mateka's house. If it comes across there at any rate, it's gonna wash through his property. A raised curve on the other side of Sunny Street. I mean,
When it comes out of our pond, it will be in the rear, so it'll be thin, and it's hitting a 20-foot wide flume. So by the time it gets to the street, it'll be not sheet flow, but it'll be dissipated, flat.
there'll be any diffusers in the middle of that one.
Not currently.
Again,
Yes, ma'am.
with regards to the paperwork that I'm going to ask for, is there an environmental study with regards to this?
We just do it, we call it a drainage analysis, potential analysis. So
And who does that?
I don't know of any environmental.
No, but who did
But we
the
did.
drainage analysis? You did.
Y'all go engineer.
And what are your,
Credentials.
credentials? Thank you.
I'm a professional engineer. I've been an engineer since 2001. And we do developments like this all over the state. Bryan College Station to here to San Antonio, Sabine, Temple, Belton, Waco, Williamson County. Yeah, this, like I said, this one is 30 acres. So it's really one of our smaller.
So I asked here, do I have to stand up or I don't stand up? I asked last month about this, and I could not see the flow off of their detention ponds. but has the city had a third party look over their numbers to see if they're right? Has that been done? So,
Strand reviewed these.
pardon me?
Strand Engineering, or city engineer.
Out of Brenham. Oh boy, I love that. That caused our problem to begin with. Okay, so anyway, they reviewed it. So with their review, now the flume is gonna have to make a zigzag across from the Sunny Street, from the south going north. What's the plan to get that water into the flume on the north side of Sunny Street? You're gonna open up the flume?
So you're correct, Matt.
I guess so, or the city, whoever.
The developer is doing all the design. We reviewed their
And
design.
he just said a minute ago that that's not his problem. So now it's the city's problem.
I don't know
on
that
the
that's
north
what he
side.
said, but let me explain. They have provided 2 detention ponds
I get it.
to offset the net impervious area that's being added by this subdivision.
Yeah.
There have been drainage issues in this area for a very long time. I totally understand that. Their work is by installing these ponds and using this flume here and then the other discharge on Main Street. They are not contributing any more runoff to these areas than before. So this water was already going, when it's a grass pasture, this water is still coming this way. And they're not going to increase. If they were, we would not allow that, obviously. And as he mentioned before, this pond has a small net reduction in the rate of runoff. The other side, the other pond, has a significant reduction. It's not going to fix the problem, obviously, but it's not going to create additional runoff to these. Now, some of these drainage problems need to be addressed. Something the city has been working toward that. But I know I've heard some comments about, well, there's all this water coming through here and they're not touching it. Well, that was stuff going through the creek that their development is not impacted whatsoever. That's what naturally comes through there. So they're ensuring that their development's not going to put more water in this bad situation. And we've checked, they have a drainage analysis. I've got a hydrologist expert that's reviewed that. We've reviewed to make sure that everything complies with the city's standards, their requirements. And there was some back and forth with a few corrections and those things before anything was approved. And stated that this all complies with the city's standards.
And to what Mr. White, Camden mentioned earlier, they went downstream to the flume, and there was a lot of debris and buildup through the years. The fence that they showed was blocked.
Well, as a homeowner who's greatly affected by that, the work that the city's done is fantastic. It should have been probably done prior to 2010 when they redid Sunny Street. But what they've done is quite excellent. I don't think I'll have 3 foot of water in my backyard anymore.
Correct.
Because it actually had to go over a dam to get to Copper's Hollow. But my backyard's not gonna flood anymore, but the other problem is the water going down the street and into the flumes.
Yeah, and there is, I call it a valley gutter. You just drive down some of the coast and go too fast.
It's up on my house.
So you're gonna dip in there. So the water in Sunny Street does have a slight crown to it that pushes it off to the side. So our water coming out in a huge rain event, it will likely go over the top of that, but in normal rain events, it should direct it down the sides until it gets to that valley gutter, the dip in the road there, and it should turn into the flume. Without the flume being backed up, it should take more water than it was previously. And I was actually here, I don't know what day that was, it rained. I don't know if it did turn like a cow pissing on fire out here. It rained pretty hard that day, and I saw the problem to where it was leaking over into the other driveway. I think opening that up downstream that will help it get out of there faster, much faster.
Mr. Marsh, did you have something?
Yes, ma'am. Let me ask y'all, how big are these ponds that you're talking about? How many gallons are they gonna hold?
Gallons?
Yes, sir.
And
I'm not an engineer, I'm just a tractor job.
yeah, let me see. That's probably written in acre feet, but we'll convert that to gallons.
Yeah, convert it to barrels.
Sorry, I should have had that ready to go. Let's see. Peak storage in there is about 4 acre feet. Handy dandy Google, if you convert that over to gallons.
While you're doing that, calculate how many gallons come off those houses y'all gonna build. That's got no place to go in the streets too.
Now that is what we calculate as so that's what they.
I've seen a project similar to this at Lake Somerville when I was working down there. Corps of Engineers, I thought they were the best, but they lost about 8 machines overnight in the Yale wall down there. They're still there. I guess the catfish are sleeping. But what's gonna happen if all you that got drawn out, what's gonna happen if it don't work?
I guess I get in trouble. I've done a lot of them.
You better hope so.
So 4 acre feet is about 1.3 million gallons.
How much is a house? Comes off that house.
Coming off the house?
Yeah.
It's the same surface area, just got.
Yes, you got ground now where the water can go in.
Okay.
But you don't have that when you start building houses. Am I right or wrong?
No, you're correct.
You're absolutely correct.
Okay.
We don't have what when we're building houses?
You have no ground saturation, it immediately runs off faster.
Right off the roof. Or right off the roof. The ground, like now, you have the ground catching it, and it's gonna soar so much. When you build those houses on the streets, all that's getting dumped.
Yeah.
And it's getting dumped on our property.
That's why we have to build it.
And that's why you really want to dump your problem on us, is what you basically want to do. As you said a while ago,
We're
you said,
dumping the extra water into the pond. That's the reason.
is this pond gonna hold?
Yes, sir.
What's gonna happen if it don't?
It will. It's calculated. It's engineering.
Well, I tell you what,
It's not the Yaywalk Creek, it's 15 acres.
I understand, but they had Corps of Engineers down there who do it, but they missed it all.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I think I'm not against this project, but if y'all gonna do this project, somewhere, y'all gonna be liable. If this thing, if y'all in the middle of it or not, it don't make no difference. We start getting flooded, that project needs to be stopped right then and there.
That's every project we need, yes, sir.
Well, I just wanna make sure it's wrote down, not an understanding.
That's the risk that the developer takes on every project.
I don't think you don't have 2 places for the water to go. That's that creek and that's that beach down there. And I don't want it. That's my son. We own that 8 or 9 acres down. I don't want it. I'll dam mine off. I'll build a dam all the way around if I have to. I don't want your water. And then I'm gonna come see you.
Okay.
All right?
Sir.
I don't think your calculations are right, but that's all right. Well, I was born and raised here. I know what comes down. That 36 bridge is not gonna handle it. And that ditch is down there is not gonna handle it either. And you know, how long you gonna hold it, it don't make no difference. It's gonna fix it when it comes down, you gonna fill up that pond quick. And what you gonna do then?
Our pond?
Your detention pond. What are you gonna do then?
It's designed to release it. as
You
it's
sure?
coming in.
You sure?
Yes, sir. Father.
I don't believe
That's what I
But
do.
anyway.
Do we have any more concerns?
I just have a general question.
Yes, ma'am.
On the detention ponds,
Yes, ma'am.
does it have, I don't know your verbiage. Is it just clay? Is it filled with clay at the bottom? Or is it just dirt that can become super saturated as well?
It'll be vegetated, it's the natural earth that's out there. It'll basically like dig a tank.
So, okay, so, but I know people who have liners in their tanks.
Yeah, but this is it's just runoff water, it's not a.
Okay, so this is gonna, so the tank won't be full all the time, just, it'll be there for runoff of that, correct? So then it'll just be an empty hole when people go by. But then, let's say, God forbid, we get into a tropical depression too, where we get 6 to 8, 10 inches of rain, which has happened before. Then there is always the chance of a supersaturation, and that fills up in the water, and there's problems going on that way, correct?
The pond is, like I said before, it's designed to drain within 24 hours.
It, on a detention, if you want to go look at one, physically go to Cap Fleet. And you'll see that it has not only the drains, but it also has, even the Rubicon has a spillway. So if that detention pond fills up to a certain height, it's not gonna run over the top, it's gonna go out a spillway. So it reduces the chance of it washing out. And you said this one has adjustable
It's a
flow?
weir structure.
Okay.
So it's
So you can adjust the flow.
not adjustable, it'll be poured in concrete and be solid.
Okay, so whatever your calculations are, that's what it has to stay. You can't slow it down. Say that we see that it's only filling up halfway. Okay, so it's not any type of adjustable. Okay.
The map, I was gonna try and ask a question here, but I guess I'll walk over to the map. Unfortunately, I've built about 5,000 towers. And every tower I build has to have retention. These towers I built are very big, and this they're not showing here, around here, is that you're damming this whole subdivision off. It's dammed off now, right? I looked at your deal. There's a dam on all the way around here now, right?
That drawing there is a silk fence.
But I'm saying in what the drawing I saw, all the way around this whole property is built up now on the edge, right, for the houses, right? Yes or no? It's easy.
No.
So the houses are built straight on plane. Okay, so they either built up
They go
or they're on
both ways.
plane.
They go both ways. Some of them flow to the street, some of them flow off the property.
Okay, the ones on the backside where the water's coming from, are they up or are they down?
The front of the house will flow to the street.
The back.
The house will flow to off the property.
So the back of the properties are open, correct?
Yes.
So the water's coming off the hill, it's been coming off the hill since dirt, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's coming off the hill, now it's gonna hit these houses, where's it gonna go? Where's all the water gonna go?
This ditch right here.
This ditch right here?
Yes, sir.
And where's the ditch dumped to?
The pond.
So that's it, so from all the way up from the Catholic, all the way up to,
It's about 45 acres. Yes, sir.
so just keep going, all the way up to Halliburton, all that water is coming off that backside, is all gonna go this one ditch, right?
45 acres goes to that ditch.
Well, what's above this? Let's keep
So
going.
you can see this goes here. It doesn't come to us.
Okay,
I can't design for that.
what do you mean you can't design for
It
that?
doesn't come on us. I'm not.
So the water that's coming down this way, is that right? Am I saying the right thing here? Is this right? It's coming this way? Is that the way the water is coming?
It's this way. To the creek. There's a little creek in there.
So you're saying the water doesn't come this way?
Correct.
It doesn't.
Some, about 45 acres from some point here comes there, but the rest of this goes to the creek.
So all this water here
Goes to
doesn't come and hit the back of your property?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, it does now.
No, sir. We didn't do anything over here.
But this water, when it comes to your property, it has
doesn't
just like
come
a
to our
dam.
property. Can you pull up sheet?
Well, besides
Seven,
that,
just go
when the
down.
water dumps now, like that creek that's over on the right or the left from the Catholic Church, that creek is not being addressed. So all the water that's going around your property and coming down to the Catholic Church and down the creek Where does that go? It's not been worked. It's just a creek now. It's not being addressed. Now that little bitty contributory over on Sunny, they addressed that, but they addressed the biggest contributory to the entire area, which is.
You're talking about this creek? It comes from the main street?
Yeah. You're not addressing any of that.
That's not our property.
You're telling me the water comes up all this, none of it goes here now. None of it. Not one drop.
Right, it flows to the creek.
So the creek never goes over.
Probably not. If it does, these see how the contours go this way, then it flows to Main Street.
So does anybody live over there can tell me I'm wrong? That the water doesn't do
You're
that?
not wrong. You're not wrong.
Did you hear that?
I'm not. That if it comes on our property, then it'll go in the pond.
Are we talking about from the cement channel from Highway 21 to where it goes to?
By Brookshire Brothers.
It doesn't go all the way to Brookshire Brothers. It stops. Then we've got open area that we're in the process of looking at getting cleaned out so there's no brush in that creek.
Why can't we just put a plume all the way through there? Because that's what needs to happen. It needs to have positive plume all the way down the whole side of this where it gets to Brookshire Brothers. And then when it crosses the street, there needs to be another plume on the Marshes property going down that way on that creek, in that creek. Not a creek, a plume. Because a creek builds up and it won't take a load, where a plume is positive all the time.
I'm not going to argue with you on that. I'm not arguing with you on that. I'm saying though, if we clear it out and it is kept, it is wider than the flume. I'm not saying that we can't look at that. That's our job to look at. But right now we're trying to address his problem. You keep bringing the city's issue into his issue.
Okay, well then I guess that no matter what happens in the drainage of the project, that he's saying that there's not going to be 1 ounce more, both of they are, and him is saying that there's not going to be any more water that already is going off the property coming off. No more.
It's going to be
less.
On one side of it's going to be 50% less and 6% on the sunny side.
Okay, well I don't believe that. Not
okay.
I've done hundreds of these, and by what I looked at and I've studied, that if you'd have done plumes from here down here and on the other side and catch it on the sides, you probably I'd say you're in there. But you have no way to catch all this water, and it goes all the way to the highway. I mean, right now I'm on Eloise. I'm a little guy in this whole deal. I got a little bitty thing, but I also do this for a living and have for 20 or 30 years. And this is not the right detention, and it ain't the right retention. So if you're going to have these 2 dry beds in here, what about all the mosquitoes? What about it's not now? It's going to be dry, wet, dry, wet. It either needs to be wet or it needs to have some kind of mitigation in the bottom of it to make sure it's never standing. Because if it stands, now you got mosquito bill. So now you got 2 retention ponds that supposedly drain, but they don't have anything in the bottom but grass. So that means they have to drain out with the grass. There's no
pilot channel. It's poured concrete.
I'm all there for you, but I just don't think you're addressing the amount of water that comes off of that. Has anybody ever went over there and looked when it really rains how much water comes off that property?
Yes, I have, sir. I've lived here my whole life, and yes, I have. And I've gone there every time since Lanny brought it up. Every time it's rained, it hasn't rained enough since you've come in. Last month or the one before, right? It hasn't rained enough to actually see. But what the city took out, there was a wall there at the end of that cement plume or whatever you want to call it, that was 3 foot deep. We removed 8 loads out of it so it could get to the creek. So I can't tell you because I'm not an engineer, but I do know that the flow is definitely going to be getting out of there faster on Sunny to the creek. Now, as far as we don't have flumes all over this town.
Yeah, but you don't have anywhere else in town, do you have that much acreage, that kind of fall, going that direction towards the creek? And then this creek over here, this one here, you said is a city problem, not his problem. You said it's Charles' problem. You didn't clean this out. This is the biggest contributor in the entire town. In the entire town. Not just over there or over there. This is the biggest in the city. That's all I'm saying.
I agree with you.
I mean,
I'm
it's
not
just
even,
right.
I agree with you there.
It's
Now,
just
if
not
you,
right.
on the back of your subdivision, there's a detention pond on over there, isn't it? Yes. It's mowed, it's kept, it doesn't hold, well.
Yeah, see there, that's the other thing. Who's gonna maintain that? Y'all said that HOA is. What happens if the HOA goes out of business? What happens if they get pissed off with each other and then they start infighting and now you got another problem? Now, well, we ain't taking care of it no more. It costs $12,000 a year. Forget that crap. That's what's gonna happen.
I can't answer what if or.
Does he have 3 references of 3 subdivisions just like that he can give us reference on? We can go back and ask them 10 years later how they're still? I bet you won't do that. I mean, that's the idea, is go back 10 years and ask somebody, how does subdivision work out for you? How did retention work?
You've given your opinion, but engineering does play a part in this.
You know, you wanna tell Boeing that?
Okay,
I mean,
we're off the subject.
I'm just saying engineering is not perfect.
We're off the subject. Let's move on. Does anyone have anything else on this project? Yes, sir.
Are you the engineer? Yes, sir. Let me ask you something. I was born and raised here in this county. You know how much water comes down Davidson Creek? Have you ever seen it? I didn't study Davidson Creek. You need to, because your water is coming in that creek. And that Davidson Creek floods, ain't no water is going in there, because there ain't no place for it to go. And what you gonna do with it then? And like I said, you said it's not your problem, but it's our property owner's problem. And then you wash your hands and you leave.
Yeah, and I'm not saying it's not my problem. It is.
Well, that's what you said a while ago.
Yeah, that's what you said.
That's what you said a while ago.
It's not my property to fix. I can't go to somebody else's property.
Can you make suggestions, being an engineer?
Yeah.
Let's hear it. Let's hear your suggestions.
Well, that's what we did. That's why they went in and cleaned out the back of the flume. I'm not gonna go to TxDOT. TxDOT's got their own engineers.
TxDOT did review this, right? Yes, I was going to ask Kevin, what was their response, TxDOT's?
They didn't have any further concerns.
Correct, that was their response. Keith asked that question earlier. They said they have no.
And I would say, and Max can speak, I'm just an engineer. Max is working for the open company. We're not gonna wash our hands and be, we do this for a living. We wanna be a partner with you. We can go out. I know growth and change is always not the greatest feeling for everybody, especially if you're a neighbor. So I understand that concern, but, like I said, we live around here, College Station. I mean, we're from around here, not Caldwell exactly, but I grew up in Zopchiville, but then over here to Clutch Festival. Mother-in-law works at Clutch Kitchen in Temple. So, I mean, we're here, and we're gonna be here. Somebody else has property that myself and I can talk to Max. We're gonna do more. We do this all over the state, so we want to be partners with the communities. You can check with City of Temple and any other cities that we work with, and we're partners with them. Have been our owners been doing it since the 80s, so it's not new to us.
So is this an action item?
It's not an action item, it's an information item.
Okay.
I'm gonna close this conversation with, Houston just got hit with Hurricane Beryl. 10, 12 inches? That is truly an act of nature, and no amount of planning, plumes, detention ponds can prevent a flash flood or a hurricane. No amount of planning from any city or community. My daughter currently lives in a house that was flooded by Harvey. But after it was built, they made some changes. But she's still at risk for flooding, just like anybody that lives in Caldwell, Texas. And I commend the engineering firm and the developer for all of the work you did, and then to come back and do even more work on this. And so, I didn't catch your name.
Mark McDonald. And I
Mr.
apologize that
Mr.
I
McDonald,
what I did, but
You
I'm
say you
just
don't
trying to
trust
protect
them.
the citizens,
This
that's
gentleman
all.
says he's got 20+ years of engineering experience. We've inquired with Strange Engineering, so 2 engineering firms that have looked at this. And again, we cannot control Mother Nature and flash flooding. No city in America can control that. And I think they have done their due diligence to try and protect your homes and your properties. And in the event it happens, I'm sorry, that is all we can say as a council is, we're sorry, it's an act of God. And they're doing their very best to protect your properties, and I think they've proven that with their presentation tonight. So we're going to move on. Next one, award the bid for the 2021 American Rescue Plan Act. Variance request for lot width and side setback by Rising Star Construction for property located at 150. Yes.
So this evening, Mayor and Council, the applicant, Ignacio Domino, Rising Star Construction, is interested in requesting a variance for the property located at 154 East MLK. The variance would provide they are wanting to divide the property and readjust it into 2 lots. It already is divided as 2 lots, and I apologize for the presentation's loading. So, like I said, the property was platted in 2021, or replatted in 2021. And when they did the replat of the property, they made it into a flag lot. So that is the entire property of what it was in 2021, and then now it is a flag lot that looks like this. So 20-foot wide at the road, and that goes back to this piece of the property in the back, and then about 55 feet on the front for the remaining portion. So as it stands right now, the way the property is platted, it actually complies with all the codes and building codes, and so the applicant could build the 2 houses that he wants to build easily without any variance request. So the request that he has is for a minimum width of 37.5 feet, and then the adjacent setbacks between the 2 lots of 2 feet. The code requires 55-foot minimum width, 100-foot depth, and then a minimum area of 5,500 square feet, and then a minimum setback of 25 feet from the front, side 7.5 or 15 for adjacent street, and then rear 25 feet. So with this request, this is what he's proposing. So the lot that I showed you in yellow, that would be the entirety of it, and then it would be split down the middle to 37.5 feet width on each side. It would dedicate about 25 feet additional right-of-way for future expansion of MLK if that was ever done in the future. And then 35 foot is what they would set it back from that new proposed right-of-way dedication. There's still quite a lot of property because it's a longer lot. And so they're proposing the 2 homes to be 2 feet apart from the property line, which would be a total of 4 feet between each of the homes. Which, if they do get this approved, then they would have to require, or the city, part of their building code, they would have to build with a 1-hour firewall on that side with no ingresses or egresses for that side that faces the other house. The other side meets the setback requirement of 7.5 feet, so there's no change there. And then they have a presentation that they'll go through, and then if there's any questions or anything afterwards, Shelby from the building side can answer these questions too.
Thank you. First, this is a presentation that we have put together. It's it just talks a little bit about what we do and what the project is. Forrest kind of explained it all for us. Thank you. So our goal is to create beautiful, affordable, high quality rental buildings and for sale buildings. So like Forrest said, that is the current plat of the two lots. Both meet the 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 setbacks required by the what the city requires for the smaller lots. But what we have thought now is that it wouldn't be aesthetic pleasing to have one house behind the other, and it would not plan for possible future widening of MLK Street, which it is wider if you go further down the street where the apartments are, the Coldwell Heights apartment. So we wanted to leave some extra space there in case ever the street wants to be widened where we are at. So we think this would be a better layout. Of course, both meet compliance now, but we don't think it's the best layout for aesthetics and or for future planning. So we came to propose this to you guys to see what you guys think. So next slide. So why we propose this, what we propose, and how we want to rearrange. So we believe it will be a more aesthetically pleasing layout than having one house behind the other. This layout also considers a potential future widening of East MLK Street with a 60-foot front setback from East MLK for the left house, and we push the right one just a little bit more to offset them a little bit so they look a little nicer and give each other a little bit more privacy. The one on the right would have 70-foot setback from East MLK, 70 plus. And then we would still meet the minimum lot square footage, which is 5,500. We would exceed it by 7,500 plus each lot. The outer setbacks, the left side of the left house and the right side of the right house would still meet the 7.5 foot setbacks. Just the interior ones would be narrower. The interior walls of those two face each other would have the fire rated walls that are needed to meet the code. This could basically be seen as a detached duplex. So we just detach them so they can create more privacy to each other. So that's a render of what they would look like. Just about right to dimension. You would have one 1,200 square foot house on each lot. So that's the current in red and the proposed in blue. So as you can see, the backyards would be lengthy. They would be 80 foot plus on each side. And again, they would still meet, they would exceed the square footage. They would each be 7,500 square foot plus. So again, this slide just outlines the setbacks we would have talked about. So we would meet the required on the outside sides of 7.5. We would exceed the back setback, which is 20, and we would exceed the front, that is 25. And in between would have 4 foot between the slabs with firewalls. So the variance request is to just do narrower lots, so they're deep, so they would still have the exceed the 5,500 square foot required. And this is a couple houses like the ones we want to build there that we built on West MLK. And we just wanted to attach a couple pictures to show anybody that hasn't seen them. That's 6 more. We built 10 on West MLK. That's the kitchen layout. That's the master bathroom, master bedroom, master closet, guest bedrooms, and guest bathroom. Laundry and backyard. That's the video if you want to play it, you can. Okay, that's what's the house. And I noted this as well on this slide. Even if we were to deed or have to the future homeowners deed 25 foot of the front for widening the street, we would still be at 6,675 square foot. It's still exceeding the minimum lot size per lot. That's the current East MLK lots 1 and 2. That's the current location. And I'm just zooming out on them, as the slide said, just to point out where they're at. They're near the fairgrounds, on the south of the fairgrounds, outside the floodplain. And then that's a video of the location, if anybody wants to see. So that's a lot there, starting at that white fence. And that faces down West MLK towards Davidson Creek. And that's all we have. Thank you.
Now, Joe, on the one behind the road, that spacing between those is 6'7" I believe. We've reduced it down to 4 foot.
Well, because we have the bigger backyards.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, I noticed over there you did pour cement, and that's gonna be a natural drain there on both sides. You put a retaining wall and drainage, so that's not gonna go to the property to the side or to the back. You mentioned it, why would, and I know the reason, but I wanna hear, you said townhome, why are we not making this a townhome? Or you, not we?
Yes, sir. So ideally, we think that for the location, it'd be better to split it and sell in the single families instead of the townhouses. But I mean, it is an option for sure.
Well, I mean, you're putting in 2 firewalls,
Yes.
basically.
So we're gonna do pretty much everything.
Right.
That is required for a duplex or townhouse, whatever Shelby says that is required. But we're just splitting to create more privacy. We believe, we could be wrong, but we believe it would be more appealing to a future homeowner to be detached for noise and just privacy.
So basically on MLK, you're just gonna be a lot narrow it back down and just have longer lots.
Yes, sir. It would be. It's pretty long. Like I said, it would still exceed. It would be 7,700 plus square foot, and even if we, or the future homeowners, if the street grows and they have to go up 25 foot, it would still be at 6,600 square foot plus each lot.
Shelby, do you have any thoughts, concerns?
I think essentially as the lots are currently platted, that they allow for the construction to take place. And by replatting them to the 2 rectangular narrow lots, it creates the need for a variance, whereas we currently don't need one as they're currently platted. So with that information. Right, so because the setbacks can't be met in between, right, it creates essentially a hardship by replatting it from the flag lot to the 2 rectangular lots. Whereas it could currently be built within setbacks and everything that are set forth. If that provides any clarifying.
So is that something that you want to continue throughout that property or?
Well, that's the only property we have. Within that one, if that's the only property we have. So I mean, like Shelby said, we could build on the flag lot, which I don't think would be as appealing to the street view or the future homeowners. And that's why we think it would be more aesthetically pleasing to see both houses side by side. And it also plans for the possible future widening of the street to where we wouldn't be, if the street widens, it wouldn't be right on the house. It would be far enough back.
my thoughts, but minimizing our current 55-foot standard is aesthetically unpleasing. That's just my opinion. Some places 55 looks fine. So the larger plots plus 55 plus look good. I'm just concerned that the picture that you have on here showing this isn't going to be the correct size to scale, because that looks more like an 8-foot instead of 4-foot. So this picture on here isn't really going to show what it's going to look like. I mean, this is 4 feet. I'm not saying somebody's not going to buy it. I'm not saying that, but that is the opposite of what we're trying to do here.
So all the houses, I think what you said, 10% built. There's 10 houses already built in MLK, correct? All of them are rentals?
Yes, sir, all those are them.
You mentioned buyers on these, are these gonna be rentals also?
It goes to sell distance.
I mean, based on this location of the property and where it's at, I would say it doesn't really meet that character out there for the existing residents. I mean, it's more of a rural area of town, larger space between homes. I could see the variance request for having the homes close together be more plausible in the downtown area, like what we see on Bond Street, just because you're increasing density, downtown revitalization, bringing residents into downtown. From the comp plan perspective, that is more along the lines of what we had all agreed to. So, I mean, to me, the way that the lot is platted, the fact that they can go ahead and develop it as is without the variance request makes the most sense. I don't see the validity of having the two homes that close together out in that area. It just doesn't meet the same character and aesthetics that is existing out there.
Okay, do we have a motion? Do you have a comment?
4 foot is off. I agree with Lee, that's not very much spacing, even the 6'7", that's close enough to 7'5". 4 foot, that's, yeah.
Do we have a motion on this variance request?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to decline the variance. All in favor to decline? All in favor, none opposed. Variance request is denied. Next, award the bid for the 2021 American Rescue Plan lift station improvements.
I'll tee this up. We've been waiting for this for a long time. This project has gone through various iterations trying to make it work and get the most bang for our buck. What we ended up doing is the project right now is the way it sits. We are replacing the tip grill lift station and the Caldwell Country lift station. So they stay at complete replacement. We don't use any of it, what's left. The way that we did this project, because we were concerned about cost, we have about $940,000 remaining in ARPA funds that were awarded in 2021. So what we did is we did a base bid of just pit grill lift station and then an alternate bid of Caldwell Country lift station. So these are just the lift stations, pumps, everything. This doesn't have, the additional generator, standby generator, anything like that. This is just the lift station. So as y'all look at the way these bids came in, the low bid here was Mercer Construction, very reputable company. The base bid, $985,000, $910,000. I mean, that's what we're seeing. in all of these projects. The alternate bid, which again is Caldwell Country lift station of 841, 860. I would ask, well, do you have anything to add now?
No, I mean, you kind of covered everything. So we had a public bid opening, back on the second, received 6 bids, actually 7 bids. One was incomplete, so it had to be thrown out, but, Mercer Construction, we have worked with them, numerous times here in Caldwell and other cities. And, yeah, it's unfortunate the cost, what these lift stations are costing these days. Just for reference, I believe it was about 4 or 5 years ago. The TXCDBG project was to replace a similar lift station. These are slightly larger, or at least Peak Grill is. That one was in the 300,000 neighborhood, and so within 4 or 5 years, it's nearly tripled in price. But that's just kind of what we've seen as far as pricing. When we opened bids earlier, late last year actually, and only received 1 bid. It was for 1.3, and the base bid, and another million or so. It was about 2.4 total. So you kind of take a little risk rebidding sometimes, but because we only received 1 bid, and it seemed like there was a lot of issues on bid day, we felt like by postponing, there were a lot of contractors that wanted to bid, including Mercer, that just couldn't at that time. And so after talking with Jeffrey and Camden, we delayed and rebid here back in earlier this month, and the bids came in lower than before.
So I'm also going to mention, hopefully I didn't, I think I talked to several people about this today, but both of these lift stations currently are probably about 15 years past end of life. So these are projects that we definitely need to take on. So I would ask that y'all would approve both the base bid and the alternate bid so we can complete both lift stations. We have approximately the amount of funds we need to complete the base bid, and then we have funds set aside in water capital improvement projects for the rest of the additional projects.
Well, we have to move the highway one, right?
When we do, if y'all approve this,
Mhm.
yes, it will move
Off
further
of
in.
that
Yes.
TxDOT property.
That's correct.
Okay.
So, any questions regarding the assets or pricing or bidding or anything like that?
The last 3 costs look like you all feel when you didn't want the job, you just did it. So but all the top 3 are pretty close, so.
Do you have a motion to award the bid?
I move we award the bid to Mercer Construction Company.
Do you have a second?
For both of them. For the base and the, yeah, no.
Okay, we have a motion to award the bid to Mercer Construction for both projects. Do we have a second? We did. All in favor, raise your right hand. All in favor, motion passes. Next, above ground facilities agreement with Atmos Energy for a district regulator station at Industrial Boulevard and Old San Antonio Road.
So we brought this to council, I think, last month, and we had to postpone it because our legal and their legal didn't have a chance to get together on everything. They finalized everything. We have an agreement that all parties are agreeable to, so we bring this back today. Just the background, if you weren't here, you'll remember, this will allow for the district regulator station over near where the substation is right now by Non-Ferris. And this will allow gas improvements to help increase the capacity on the west side of town. So not only the industrial park, but the new development that's been discussed out off the 105. So this is really going to bolster our Atmos system here. Outside of that, I can't tell you much about it.
This is supposed to help OSR behind it.
But I will tell you, this is a much needed project.
Oh. So you're saying our lawyers and everything approved this one?
Yes, sir. There's just a little bit of back and forth between us and their attorney. We got everything good.
That's the only thing leaves here that's not due to law.
Do you have a motion to approve the above ground facilities agreement with Atmos Energy?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor of approving the above ground facilities agreement with Atmos Energy, raise your right hand.
I'm saying.
Four, four, one abstain. Motion passes. Next, we're going to lump in items. Okay, sorry, we will do individually. Hotel occupancy tax reimbursement grant contract between City of Caldwell and the Burleson County Youth Development in Court for the 2024 Spring Fever Kickoff in the amount of $1,156.84.
So as, y'all had met at the June 25th workshop meeting, these were discussed, and y'all had agreed to fund the Burleson County Youth Development Corporation for their spring fever kickoff, and the amount that they requested of $1,004.84. So we have the contract with them tonight.
Move for approval.
And a second for approval. All in favor of passing the pot funds and reimbursement to Burleson County Youth Development for $1,156.84. Raise your right hand. Motion passes. Next, hotel occupancy tax reimbursement between City of Caldwell and the Burleson County Czech Heritage Museum for the 2024 Pre-Kolac Festival Yard Party and Street Dance in the amount of $3,000.
So the applicants had requested $5,360 for this request, and during the workshop session, y'all had mentioned how the amount of requests that come in each year is more increasing, and as far as the total amount that is being requested by the organizations, in order to preserve the overall fund balance that is in the hot fund account to keep that program going. Y'all had talked about creating a cap of $3,000 for future requests, which staff is working on bringing forward the overall application and to make that clear.
Can you explain a little more about the large crowd here? Hopefully everybody understands how the
Hot funds work.
works.
So the way that the Hot Funds program works is any organization that has an event within the community, they can apply for eligible, if they meet eligible requirements under the Hot Funds program requirements based on the state statute, that if they are bringing in tourism or any kind of art festival, anything like that that relates to the eligible application requirements, then they would be eligible to receive a grant from the city's hot fund account. So the council reviews those applications when they come in twice a year. Once in the fall is when we submit, and then the council issues that reimbursement after reviewing the applications and then entering into an agreement with that organization. After the organization and the council have approved the contract and everybody has signed and the contract is executed, then you as the organization would submit a post-event report, which has all of your documentation to meet the total amount that has been requested or that has been issued based on that contract amount. So invoices, any kind of expenses that relate to those eligible items will be submitted to city staff, which we will review. And then once everything is reviewed and it meets that amount that was granted as part of the contract, then the organization is issued that reimbursement.
We have a motion to award Burleson County Czech Heritage Museum $3,000. Do you have a second?
I'll say.
Okay, all in favor of awarding the Burleson County Czech Heritage Museum $3,000 with hot funds, raise your right hand. Motion passes. Next, hotel occupancy tax reimbursement grant between City of Caldwell and the Friends of Caldwell Main Street for the 2024 Summer Concert Series in the amount of $3,000.
Same thing, this is for the 2024 concert series that Frank Main Street does. They have requested $20,000 for this hot funds grant, and the council has allocated $3,000 towards this grant program.
Do we have a motion to approve the $3,000 for Friends of Caldwell Main Street? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. And motion passes. Next, department and community reports. Thank you, Benji, again for your code enforcement report and all of the work you're doing with that.
It's getting thicker.
People are using the citizen concern to report things. Great.
How much?
I only had, I don't get them personally. They go
Yes.
to Candy,
Uh-huh.
and she sent all the stories to me, and I think I only have 2 or 3
But that's,
this time, but it's a good start.
And for those of you that might not know and haven't read your little handy insert in the city utility bill, we have a new feature on the city website. It's called a citizen concern, where you just click it and there's 20 something options you can click on, something that's going to fall in the category you want to report. And then I think the city has been getting to those very quickly for concern. So instead of heading to Facebook with your problems, go straight to the citizen concern on the city city webpage.
This is like a pilot program that the mayor had wanted us to implement, and so we are currently working on getting a better software for all of our permits, inspections, planning, development, code enforcement, licensing, all of those items as far as the administrative side is all done in paper right now, and so we're trying to create a more streamlined process. We'll have an online portal, and then that citizen follower portal will move into that software, so then those cases can be created directly from that system. And there'll be a lot of maps that you'll be able to see any of those problems that are going to be reported and anything like that. And you have the option to report anonymously if you so choose, but if you do, then it would have reported that information on there. But that is in progress, and we hope to have that implemented sometime by October 1st when we switch to the school year.
And it's much appreciated. Thank you. Any other comments or concerns about the department and community reports, guys? Nope. Okay. Administrative and elected official reports. Mr. White.
All right, so I think we dodged a bullet on Hurricane Laurel, but we're as ready as we could be. We had everything backed up. We made the preparations we needed to. I want to thank Thomas and some members of his crew came out on Saturday to help cut a new ditch to drain the property along Hole, in addition to the work that they did during the week to take care of the Sunny Street. So thank you guys for that. GLO bidding process, we got kind of delayed on the street project for bidding only. Just because of the hurricane, we had other people that wanted to bid and they couldn't get it in. So what we're doing is we're backing that up 2 to 3 weeks. But what'll happen is we'll bring the GLO street project and the GLO sewer project to the August meeting. So those will both, we'll open bids for those and they'll both come for the August meeting for approval. Back to drainage, so something else that's coming back in the August. They'll have the drainage extension study for coming down Temple Street. That'll be complete. That'll come back and be presented in August as well. So we got a lot of stuff coming in August. A couple other things. Our new fire truck is here. It looks very nice. If you haven't had a chance to check it out. The front end loader garbage truck that we've been waiting for I don't know how long it's been, 2 years at least. We'll be here this week, tomorrow. And then our boom truck that we're gonna have an established brush route will be here next week, Wednesday, I'm confused. So we're getting a lot of stuff going, we're really excited about the efficiencies that we're gonna pick up with a lot of these projects, so that's what I got.
So that was Cleve Street that you were talking about being?
Yes, that's
okay.
correct. So the Cleve Street Streets and Drainage Project, it'll come back to y'all in August.
Okay. So just a quick update on the Judy Richardson Street sign has been put up. Most of you wish to go by there and take a look at that.
Has Mr. Richardson seen that?
I believe I was told he.
Yeah, he showed it last night at Lions Club.
And then also reminder of the City Hall open house on August 10th, time to be announced. We're still working on what to do for that day. So just a reminder of that. That's all I have.
The front loader is coming. What about the dumpsters?
The dumpsters, I think.
Only about 8 weeks out.
Okay. So that's, so 8 weeks. Has the Johnny Hill division orders come through?
I've not seen them.
Have not seen them. Okay. And Thomas is in the process of getting the Johnny Hill walkway over the ponds.
Correct.
Repaired. Yes. Yes. That's it. Too long.
Mr. Newbeck?
So, when utilities come in and do what they're doing, like out at the country club now, they're doing some in town, are they required to notify citizens or?
So we do not have a formal right-of-way process. If that is something that I would like staff to look into and create, there's one that they can do that. But as it stands right now, when any kind of communication company comes in, they will contact us and they will say what they're gonna do. And the only thing that we're really looking at is to see if it's gonna impact our utilities or not. And if it doesn't have any impact to our utilities, then they can proceed with their work. They were supposed to notify the residents as they were going through and doing those projects. They were also supposed to notify the city of each project and when they were going to be doing the construction. They failed to do that, and so they have updated us with that information, and so we are working on getting that out. But as of right now, it's the same 3 areas: Hoppers Hollow, Country Club,
They finished today.
Edna's Hill, and this side of town right here, the downtown and west side of Caldwell, and all of this side of town was all overhead, but Hoppers Hollow and Edna Hills was underground.
So if we put whatever in force, then what does that mean?
It'll give us more strict requirements that they'll have to follow, and as we go through the review process, there'll be more items that they'll have to provide before they can just go out and do their work. It'll slow things down to where we can actually notify people properly.
The group in Arnett left a deal on our door, and then he even came, knocked on the door and talked to both of us for about 15 minutes. And today they were putting out the last of the grass to put down, and he said they had finished our neighborhood. They're going someplace on 36.
And when people come in, well, communication companies come in like that, there's nothing that we can really do to stop them if they're in the easements or the right of way. I mean, property lines don't necessarily go to the back of the curb, they go about 10 to 20 feet in on the property, so residents do sometimes not understand that. And so that is something that we can also do, an education piece in the newsletter and talk about, where communications goes and kind of where our limitations are and what we can and can't do. So.
I knew we couldn't stop them, but it would just be nice.
Well, the other thing is when they go overhead,
yeah, they don't.
I mean, in a lot of our areas in the overhead, people leave their trash is what I'm trying to say is, you know, I mean, Mr. Easter, he's been on this one place on Pleb. Well, we have it in the air by these communication companies. There's 20 lines up there and you don't know where they go. You know, who owns it? You know, so is there something in that you can have teeth that if it's dead, they gotta remove it? I'm just asking a question. You see what I'm saying? Because some of the older parts of town, I mean, it's, if there's one, there's 20, and then nobody's responsible for it.
I would think we could put that in a full contact agreement.
Yeah.
And then, you know, just follow up on it.
Yeah, cause I mean, like I said, I brought it up a few months back, and you know, my father-in-law got his older house. I mean, it's 10 foot off the ground, I mean, or 9 foot. You know. So, yeah, looking to doing that thing too. That's all.
Main Street held their second summer concert this past Saturday night, very well attended. Great time had by all. A special thank you to the businesses that sponsored that event. Without them, we simply couldn't have it because they pay for our bands, our advertising, our porta potties, our signage, all that fun stuff. Special thank you to Leah Zaccanino and Betsy Wellhausen. They do a lot of work behind the scenes, and it is very much appreciated. And to the city team that helps us set up and take down for the night. It's a fine-tuned machine we have going on there on Saturdays. But we have a great time, and if you have not come yet, please join us for August the 10th for T. Cole and the Austin Party Band. It is also City Hall Open House, Caldwell ISD Meet the Hornets, and Final Dance. It's going to be a fun, hot night.
Cliff, was the amount of bidders bid on the project was to be quite a few competitive?
We were hoping so. As it stood, it was just a couple, 3, but there was other interest that was out there that just got thrown off by the hurricane, no power. So we pushed back.
Extended it.
Yeah.
Drainage, you talked about, stuff that goes back times into, and what Keith was talking about going back to 36. And we mentioned about looking into that. I guess we'll take a look and see what it's going to take.
We need to look at it. A lot of the stuff that we talked about tonight is considered pre-existing conditions, right?
Yeah. And some of that was, I know we mentioned that some landowners.
Right. We can't just go on somebody's property.
Yeah, we got to talk to them
about
about
it. We've got to get permission to do that. Or, you know, a lot of the areas that we see issues, we don't have an easement right now, so we've got to obtain permission to be on that property.
Does TxDOT have any sort of person or department?
We can certainly reach out to their maintenance supervisor. He's a great guy, and he normally works with us.
I did talk to Cameron too, also about do another poll study. I think there's been quite a few that are, you know, it's been probably 15 years since the city done one. And then a study on, and then the other thing is, where we have a lot of Selfnet and other communications time out there, Frontier, you know, there's a lot of stress on lines older poles. And I mean, there's a lot of heavy lines that are stretching, you know, 30, 40 foot spans. And so we're looking to that. Then Kevin mentioned about notifications. Atlas has a good policy where they're replacing lines and going lines. They'll have engineers do a study, and they'll go through the whole neighborhood and notify them months before. And we had a cut line down from your house last week, and they didn't have they went on, and this is what they do for a living. And they just bored right through the gas line. So at that point, you know, when in those policies, when they have that, that's part of that. They show where, you know, that dig number can't be done by Frontier, it has to be done by the person boring. And it lasts for 2 weeks, so if it lapses, they gotta call it in. So those policies will have that in that. I think that's it.
The tree stump or brush removal and stuff, do we have like an idea on when we expect to have like maybe a schedule or a street?
We'll work on that. What we wanna do is, of course, we gotta train operators first, and then hopefully catch up from where we're behind. And as soon as we put together that schedule, you know, it's gonna be one day of the week for, you know, each group. Say if your garbage day right now is Tuesday, well, maybe the brush and bulky day is gonna be Thursday. Just throwing that out, don't hold me to it. But we'll put that together and we'll push it out across all media that we can. But I would expect that in the next couple months, and then hopefully we would pick that up, say, as soon as possible, then we shoot for October.
Is that chipper truck still active?
The chipper truck is active. They're running every day.
Okay.
Unless we have to, and that's where the benefit is on this. You know, if we have to pull off on a streets project, on a drainage project, and those guys are not running the chipper, they're helping the rest of the crew.
We also have a dump truck and a gravel out there today too.
You know, when I said we did have a hard time, I expect everybody to come and you got to hear a lot of good things, you know. Well, I mean, we're talking about a lot of city upgrades and, you know, a lot of projects that have been ongoing that probably nobody knew about, was not hear about them, not being approved. A lot of new city equipment, that just didn't happen in the last couple of weeks, last couple of months. That's been ongoing. Just like I said, one of the trucks been on for 2 years. So it just, there's a lot of things going on behind the scenes. But, that's it.
Do we have a motion to adjourn? No motion to adjourn? What?
Make a motion.
Okay, yeah, you can, maybe have a second.
We're gonna make them sit longer.
Okay, meeting adjourned. Thank you all for coming.